Okay, in our short Unit 5, this is our last section, combining like terms and distributive property. So, I want you to think of distributive property as sorting things out. Just like when you put your clothes away, you put your pants in one drawer, your shirts in another drawer, your under things in another drawer, right? That's all you're doing when you're doing combining like terms and distributive properties. So, first way that if I give you an expression like this, 2x minus 5 plus 3x, I just need you to sort things out. Anything that has an x attached to it, or any type of variable, you're going to put together, and anything that is a standalone number, or what we call a constant, you're going to keep together. And then you're just going to total what you have. So one way you can do that is make a chart. So you can have an x side and a number side. So on the x side, I have a 2. The negative 5 would go on my number side, and my 3 would go on my x side. So on the x side, I have 2 plus 3, which is 5, and those are x's. And on the number side, I just have negative 5. So if I add that all up, I get 5x minus 5. You cannot combine these two things. Everything needs to stay in their place. These are variables. These are constants. They're just numbers. They have to stay in their own place. So you're not going to subtract this from this. It's just going to be that expression right there. Another thing you can do is you can combine things vertically, meaning up and down. And both of these just might be methods you need to practice for a while until you really start getting it. So I've got a 3x and a negative 2, and then I've got a negative 5x. So I'm going to put that right underneath my 3x, and a positive 6, and I'm going to put that right underneath my 2. Now I've got everything kind of in their own column, and you're just going to subtract the numbers in front of that variable. So 3 minus 5 is negative 2, and those are x's. Negative 2 plus 6 would be positive 4. Okay? So down here, we're still doing combining like terms. You can make a chart. Now you've got c's going on, f's, and constants. So if you're going to make a chart, you could make a column for c's, a column for f's, and a column for numbers. There's many ways you can do combining like terms. And then I have a 5 in the c column, a 12 in the f column, a negative 30 in the number column, a negative 8 in the c column, a 7 is going to go in the number column, and a 3 in the f column. And then I'm just going to total them up. Put your c down and your f down, because those are the variables that go with each of those. So 5 minus 8 is negative 3, 12 plus 13 is positive 15, and negative 30 plus 7, this would be a plus 7, is negative 23. So when you combine those, you get negative 3c plus 15f minus 23. And you're going to stop. You don't add those numbers together because the negative 3 is attached to the c, the 15 is attached to the f. They're not the same thing. Okay? Another way you can do that, I've seen works fairly well for some people, is I'm going to put a box around my around my c's. Make sure that you include the sign. You can underline the f's, and then put a circle around the numbers. Then everything that's in a square you're going to put together. 5c minus 8c is negative 3c. 12f plus 3f would be 15f. And negative 30 plus 7 would be negative 23. You're going to get the same answer that you did over here. Okay, so I want you to go down below and try these first two. Let me give you the second one. Plus 5 plus 3k minus 5 plus k. So I want you to try the first and second down here, and then come back and check your answers against mine. So I'm going to pull this 12r over here. Just going to move it. That's a positive 12r and a negative 20. So I just move them down below. And I'm going to bring my r down. 5 plus 12 is 17. Negative 8 minus 20 is negative 28. So that should be your answer for that. Here, I'm just going to add all of my k's together. If you do not have a number in front of a variable, we understand that to be 1 all the time. So for now, until you get really good at variables, which you will, I want you to put that 1 in there so that you don't forget it. And So I've got a 12 plus 3 plus 1, k, and then a positive 5 and a negative 5. So 12 plus 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16 k's, and 5 minus 5 is just 0. So you can either put plus 0 or you can just leave it, 16k. Try the next two on the bottom. An S squared is its own label, so you can look at that. This is actually when I start using In-N-Out burger math. So I want you to think about these as singles, these are double-doubles, and the standalone numbers are milkshakes. So I just want you to total up what you've got there. So try these two and then come back and check your work. So I'm going to make a chart for this one, just to use a different method in case this one works better for you. So that 8 is going to go in the X column. The negative 12 is going to go in the Y column. The 6 has an X attached, so it's going to go here in the X column. The 4 will go in the number column, and the positive 8 will go in the Y column. I'm going to total those up, bring my letters down. 8 plus 6 is 14. Negative 12 plus 8 is negative 4. And the only number I have there is a 4. So think about you're working in In-N-Out. Every type of burger they have has a different wrapper, has a different price, right? So it's all going to have its own place to go. So I'm going to make an S column for my singles, an S squared column for my double-doubles, and then the number column can represent our milkshakes. Okay, so we've got 5 in the S column, negative 6 in the S squared column, a 4 in the number column, a negative 3 in the S squared column, and right here I have an S. Remember, that is 1S, so that's going to go right here. I'm going to total it. I'm going to bring down my S, bring down my S squared, and then I'll have my numbers. Now you're just adding things up. 5 plus 1 is 6. Negative 6 minus 3 is negative 9, and that's a positive 4. Easy, yeah? Okay, so let's translate. Twice the sum of a number and 2. So anytime so this is going to be 2 times something. Sum means we're adding two things together. A number, let's call that n, and 2 is what we're, instead of an x, I'm going to make that a little dot for multiplying. So anytime you have the sum of, that's when parentheses are going to come in. There's your sum right there. And then we're multiplying that whole thing by 2. Okay, next page. Right, so now we're going to work on distributive property. And it just means, distributive property just means that you are giving a value to each term. And you're doing that by multiplication. Okay? So, and you have different ways you can do that too. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways. So let's do negative 9 times 6m minus 3. So, and if you've done the distributive property before, this is probably how you've seen it. You see that in parentheses. This negative 9 has to get distributed to each of those terms, or multiplied by each of those terms. So negative 9, what you're essentially doing is negative 9 times 6m and negative 9 times negative 3. So negative 9 times 6 is negative 54. And we're going to add the m on. Negative times a negative is a positive, and 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, next one. Now I'm going to leave this 2x plus 4 off for a minute. Order of operations is I have to get rid of that parentheses first. So I'm just going to take this section right here, because that's what I need to multiply out. And I'm going to show you box method. So this is one number, a 3, and it's got one term, 2 terms that it needs to be multiplied by. Sorry. Move that down a little bit. Okay, 5x and positive 2. So if we just multiply those together, 3 times 5, and we're going to put it in this box right here. 3 times 5 is 15, and an x. 3 times 2 will go in this box, and that's going to be a positive 6. So I get 15x plus 6 is this part. Then I have to add on the 2x plus 4. So now I have 15 plus 2 x's, which is 17x, and then 6 plus 4 is 10. Okay, so that's another method of doing multiplication. For number 3, I'm going to show you vertical method, which actually is what I typically use. So again, I'm only going to handle this part right here. I'm going to leave that 8 for a minute. We'll deal with him in a minute. Vertical method is based off this kind of multiplication that you've been doing forever and feel pretty comfortable with, right? So you multiply and you carry, and then you move 1 over, you put a 0 there, put your 8 down, and 2 times 3 is 6, and then you total everything up, right? So vertical method is based on the same thing. So I'm going to put 2m minus 5, and those both need to be multiplied by negative 3. And I'm going to multiply just like I did over here. So take care of your signs first, make your life easier. Negative times a negative is a positive. Negative times a positive is a negative. Now my signs are taken care of. Now I just have to deal with the numbers. So 3 times 5 is 15, and 3 times 2m is 6m. So I did the distributive property. Now I just need to add that 8 onto there. So I'm going to add 8, and I would get negative 6m plus 23. Okay, so this is called vertical method. So you've got 3 options of how you can do distributive property. I just want you to find one that makes sense to you. Let's go down. I want you to try these 2 problems here, and then come back and check your answers against mine. All right, so I'm going to do this first one. Let's just do it, I just call it rainbow method, like that. So this 3x is just going to hang out over here for a second. Take care of your signs first. A positive times a positive is a positive. Then we're going to have a positive times a negative. So leave a space for your number and put your negative in there. Now, 2 times 4x is 8x, and 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. Now I've just got to combine those 2 things together. So I have 3x and 8x. I'm just going to add those 2 numbers together, which is 11x minus 16. This one I'm going to use vertical method. So again, I'm going to leave this 4 just for a second. Be very careful. A really common mistake in order of operations is that you'll want to do 4 minus 5 and get negative 1, and then multiply it by 3w minus 5. But we know from PEMDAS and from GEMS that is not correct order of operations. So be sure that you're doing this part first, the multiplication here. So I'm going to do this vertical method. So we have 3w minus 5 in the parentheses, and then negative 5 down below. And take care of your signs again. So negative times a negative is a positive. Negative times a positive is going to be a negative. Now we just have to handle the numbers. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 3w is 15w. Are we done? Nope. We still got to take care of Mr. 4 over here. So that's a positive 4. We're going to add that together. We end up with negative 15w plus 29. Okay. Do lots of practice in class. That's it.